Dear ladies and gentlemen, almost my colleagues, I will explain you why afterwards. Welcome to Portugal, a very old nation of almost 900 years of age, a peaceful and safe society, a combination of delightful nature and hospitable people, and also a center of knowledge, and above all, a platform among cultures, civilizations, oceans, and continents. That's the way we were throughout our history. That's the way we are. Welcome to this European homeland, which aims for a very inclusive and brotherly Europe, without fears or barriers. Europe that emerged from the crossing of hundreds of cultures and civilizations. And who knows that there are no pure Europeans, and that this is its great wealth in the world and when facing the world. May your work be crowned with success as you exchange research, experiments, and mutual experiences in that area of health sciences, which is neurogastroenterology and motility. May the team led by Professor Luís Novaes create the ideal conditions for you to be happy here in Lisbon, at ease to discuss diagnosis, evaluation and management of sensory motor dysfunction and functional GI disorders, as well as gut microbiota, gut-brain axis, nutrition and nutrition-associated conditions, and many, many other subjects. And I could stop right here, but that would be to deny my passion for your specialty. Having passed up an almost inevitable vocation in health to become a law professor, I've never ceased to be as near as possible to being a doctor, an interested, attentive, and studious layman. Not one of those who fear disease or develop drug dependency. Rather those who know the Vardemecum by heart and would be able, if it were not a crime, to prescribe and treat patients, ideally in the field of gastroenterology. Recalling my first ulcer at the age of 15, and the then existing bismuths, and the long journey from Rotter-Zantac and others to Pepsidena, to Losec, the biggest leap, the revelation, a late one for me, of Helicobacter pylori, what I suffered before knowing it was just something so simple, having to drink milk and rest and change all my life, thinking it was something else, to discover it could be treated with some antibiotics. Well, and finally to Nexium, to the thousands generics of omeprazole, I know them almost by heart, to the beneficent capsule, I tried several times, to the treatment, I mentioned it with, first of all, 3 antibiotics, then 2, then just 1. What a miracle. To today's sophisticated tests and examinations. Almost 55 years of knowledge. 55 years of development that covered other areas of the same specialty. And it could rightly justify granting of the title or degree of specialist honoris causa. So I deserved it. I fought for it. Not just for the reason of being President of the Portuguese Republic and receiving you here, but, well, I studied starting in the 60s, and then the 70s, and then the 80s, and 90s, and the new century. What I suffered. Discovering what was the last literature on the subject, and exchanging points of views with different specialists, both professors, researchers, and just doctors. Well, but it is enough for me as fair consolation for so many decades of ceaseless labor to have the pleasure of being here with you today. I'm feeling so happy, surrounded by so many experts on this subject. Usually I meet a dozen, 2 dozens, but 500, that's paradise. That's heaven, almost heaven for me. And to be able to read your papers and learn from your progress. And even in the course of your work, to be able to ask you the same question I ask when I go into a pharmacy anywhere in the world, especially respected ones. Dear friends, so what do we have that is really new? Because that is the key question also for scientists and for clinicians. What new things they have to communicate to their peers and their end customers, us, humble, expectant patients. But forget the layman infatuated for your field. More than a quarter of a century ago, spared by any Helicobacter relapses. That's the good news. And keep in mind the closing words of the President of the Portuguese Republic. We welcome you with open arms. With this wonderful weather. We had an awful June, an awful July. Well, I would say a reasonable August. And then all of a sudden, knowing you are going to meet here, we decided to prepare a magnificent September for you. Make the most of your time here to get to know us and understand why it is so good to visit, to work, and to live in Portugal. Thank you.